You're moving to Boise, Idaho, and you're eventually going to buy a home. But where are the Boise locals buying homes? We're going to talk about it because Boise locals tend to buy a little bit different than those of you moving here, which can be insightful for you because people who have lived here usually have a little bit more insights into the Boise, Idaho area. And then stay for the end where I go over one of the #1 places that Boise locals wish they could live. My name is Brady Fagel and I am a Boise local and a real estate agent, so I have a little extra insight and experience with Boise. Comment or reach out if you have any questions during this video. Now, where do locals want to buy homes? It will depend on what type of person they are, and we will talk about that, but there is definite trend of where locals want to buy versus people like you who are moving from out of state. As an overview, Boise has 6 or 7 main suburbs, depending on if you count Emmett. You have Kuna in the south, off by itself. You have Caldwell and Nampa in the western end of the Treasure Valley, Middleton and Star in the northwest, Eagle in the north, and then you have Meridian right in the heart of the valley. Now, as we go through this, there will be a difference between what suburbs locals choose versus the communities and subdivisions, because of course, as you live here, you have a better understanding of the little pockets and the hidden gems throughout the valley. There are a couple of areas that most locals would prefer not to live, but out-of-state people still move here. And then when I help people move here, it is usually a very common story. People want smaller town communities. Many times people are searching for a more conservative area of Boise where they can raise their family and have more open space. And this usually lands out of state people in places like Star, where you have a very conservative suburb. There are neighborhoods here with American flags on every single person's house, and with the recent election, Trump signs in every single front yard, which you just don't see in some of the other suburbs, even the other conservative suburbs. Star is also attractive to out-of-state people because of the Boise River and the beauty of the trees and the foothills in Star. People from out of state will also land in places like Middleton and Kuna for similar reasons, as these are smaller towns with great communities. And often I'm talking to people who want out of the political environment they're in. They want to get away from bigger cities like LA and Portland and Seattle. So it makes sense that out-of-state people are drawn to these areas. 2 more suburbs people choose from out of state are Meridian and Eagle. Meridian because it is close to everything in Boise. It's super safe and nice. People want to still be in an area where there is a lot to do. They don't want to let go of the areas they came from where they had restaurants and Topgolf and grocery stores everywhere. And then Eagle is popular, especially for Californians, because it is a beautiful area of Boise. I often call it kind of the Beverly Hills of Boise. Plus it is a smaller town and has some homes with more land if you can afford to live there. The other spot is Caldwell and Nampa. These get chosen because of the affordability and the ability to buy a lot more land than other parts of Boise, and especially more than where they moved from. The difference between this and then locals often comes down to 2 things. And again, these are just the suburbs. We'll talk about the smaller pockets and the places that a lot of locals like to live later. But the 2 things with suburbs for locals comes down to knowing the suburbs better. We have much more information and experience and understanding that the entire Boise area is nice. The people are great. And then we know the minute differences between each suburb. And the second one is the price. As locals, we have local jobs. And as people have moved here, some prices of homes have skyrocketed, where Boise salaries have not. So it has caused a lot of locals to choose suburbs like Kuna, Nampa, and Caldwell, where the home prices are much more affordable. But this is more of a necessity versus the majority of what we will talk about when it comes to where locals would prefer and choose to live when budget isn't much of an issue for them. Before we get into those places, again, my name is Brady Fagel and I make these videos every week to hopefully help you learn and make the right decision in moving to Boise. I am also a real estate agent, so if you need or want help moving here, whether that's in a week or a year, reach out to me. I am here as your resource to answer any questions you have and help further in your decision to move here. I also think that if you trust me enough to reach out, then you deserve to have me be the person showing you around and working with you, not anyone on my team or someone that you haven't met. So I look forward to chatting and meeting you guys. Now, when it comes to the most popular suburbs for locals, and it's not a budget thing, it will depend on the person. For small town Idahoans, it seems that Middleton and Kuna are a more preferred suburb. These two are smaller. They actually feel smaller. So many of you guys are moving here and you've chosen Star to move to. That Star has gotten crowded and it really filled up with people moving here from out of state. Star also has more traffic because it is surrounded by other suburbs, and then those people drive through Star to get to other places, and so it just gets more crowded and there's more traffic. Middleton and Kuna are just more popular with local people that want to get away from the growth of Boise. These both just so happen to be more affordable than Star and Eagle, so that doesn't hurt. Me and my wife actually live in Kuna. We just sold our townhome in Kuna to move right down the road in Kuna. So I can tell you as a Boise local myself, Kuna is at the top of my list and we love it here. Middleton is similar to what Kuna offers. Middleton is just farther out of town, but it does have the Boise River. But these two suburbs, they can be attractive to locals who want to get away from the growth of Boise. Plus, for all of the other locals, Meridian and Eagle and parts of Boise are going to be the top suburbs that they choose to live. But the specific areas within those are more of what I want to talk about, where at the end I'll go through the top 2 areas I think most locals would really prefer to be. But when we look at areas, a lot of locals are going to be looking at areas in North Meridian, which is different than Central or South Meridian. In North Meridian, you have 2 areas that many locals would be looking to move to. The areas around the village, which is an outdoor shopping mall with restaurants and shops, Kleiner Park, plus tons of restaurants and stores all over this area. And then the second area would be northwest corner of Meridian, which is where the top high schools are, Costco, Fred Meyer, tons of new development, and some of the most popular subdivisions like Bridge Tower, Paramount, Loxa Falls, and Banbury. This is a popular spot for out-of-state people as well, but in general, locals know this area a little bit better. They know how safe and nice it is here, so it's a more desirable spot for locals, and they might pick some of the subdivisions that seem a little bit older, they seem a little bit more run down, but as locals, we know that it's an amazing neighborhood and an awesome place to live. Before I get into the next 2 general areas, there will probably be someone who comments, "No one wants to live there," or "You must not be a local," which of course, everyone is completely different. Some of you have kids, some people don't. Some people want to be in the mountains and some people want more solitude. These areas are what I have seen and feel living here and what I have seen working with clients as the trend. But it is also why I think it is so important to jump on a phone call, learn about you and your family, and hear what your family is about, so I can match the best areas to your situation. So again, shoot me a text or a call. I want to learn about you and help you pick the best areas of Boise because it is the most important part of moving here. The next 2 areas are great spots, and one of them has 2 of the top local communities, but the first one is Southeast Boise, specifically Harris Ranch, Warm Springs Mesa, and all of the communities along the foothills and the Boise River. This place is absolutely beautiful and it's hard to beat, especially if you like to be where a lot of the stuff is in downtown Boise. You're connected to the Greenbelt along the Boise River, with foothills and mountains in your backyard, so you have beautiful views of the mountains, and you have easy access to the Boise River, as well as views of the Boise River. This is just a beautiful area with small city centers that have local restaurants and coffee shops. It's a place many Boise locals would love to be because of the smaller local shops and the trails connecting them to the neighborhoods. You see tons of people riding their bikes and walking with a strong local community. The next area is Eagle. Southern Eagle and Northern Eagle have some of the top neighborhoods in the valley. They have some of the most developed landscaping. There are always ponds and waterfront properties, and a lot of thought has gone into these communities. We will take a look at the top communities here in a second, but Eagle is one of the safest areas in Boise, which is hard to do with how safe Boise is, which is why Eagle is well below the national average for crime. The Boise River runs through Eagle as well and has greenbelt access that you just don't get in Meridian, Star, or Middleton. You also have the foothills in Eagle, which is usually only something you get living in Boise. And Eagle is also close to the downtown area, so if you don't want to drive into town for some of your bigger activities, you can. And you're connected to Meridian. The only reason many locals wouldn't really choose Eagle is because it's more upscale. So you have wealthier people, and it's kind of stereotyped as a little bit bougie or Beverly Hills like, but the communities here are definitely above and beyond. There are tons of waterfront properties. Most of the multi-million-dollar homes in the valley are here. It has the most homes that border the Boise River, giving people greenbelt access like right in their backyards. But the top two communities is very tough to choose. There really is so many, but oftentimes a lot of people who have lived here, and I'm sure many of you like that more mature neighborhood, which is why one of the top communities I think anyone would try and buy a home that's a local is Two Rivers. This is a neighborhood that has been around since I was a kid. It's in a perfect location, closer to Meridian, while being connected to Eagle and connected to the Boise River, and the landscaping throughout into the neighborhood is just amazing. Other developers actually travel from around the country to Eagle just to learn from how well this community was built. It has a variety of homes. It has ponds and canopy of trees where you can go fishing or there's water features, and it's well known. The other community that I think a lot of people would choose to live is just outside of Eagle, and that is Dry Creek Ranch in Hidden Springs. This gives you a small mountain town feel with beautiful homes, but the option to live on land and feel like you're tucked away from the city is an amazing thing that a lot of locals have, and that's why it's one of the hottest real estate markets in Boise. Now, the top two that I picked today were in Eagle, but there are some issues with Eagle that people moving here can run into. And if you did want to think about these communities or Eagle as a suburb, you want to watch this video first, where I go over all of the reasons people leave Eagle and decide to move somewhere else. That way you know if it would be right for you. Thank you guys for watching. I look forward to meeting you in person.